Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to game one of this best of three. Vici Gaming taking on LGD Gaming. We are in our final match here for Starladder China. The winner of this one best of three moves along and will join Invictus Gaming to represent China at the LAN Finals to be held at DreamHack Bucharest in a month or so. With that said, I'm LD Beyond the Summit, and I am joined here today by Zyori. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing very well, LD. Like you mentioned, this is what it all comes down to. This is what separates the boys from the men in this season of Starladder China. Only one team can go on, and the loser, well, this is where they'll be going home empty-handed and a little bit more sad. I think Vici Gaming, the favorites coming in here. Let's take a look at the Dota 2 Lounge bets, see what people think. And okay, very small favorites, about 55-45 over LGD. So it should be a pretty close series. We saw some great Dota yesterday from these two teams. Of course, Vici advancing to this spot and LGD getting knocked down a few rungs by IG in that pretty heated best of three. So should be good. Looking forward to some good Dota tonight. FY drafting for Vici and Zhao 8 drafting for LGD tonight. Vici, first pick Lion. They grabbed the Storm Spirit. We'll see a Phoenix actually banned out, which is something we saw played a lot yesterday, but not actually banned out. LGD, I guess, looking at those replays yesterday, deciding they don't want to mess with any Phoenix today. Bat Rider Troll banned out by Vici, and that opens up for Wisp Bristleback. First pick for LGD, a particularly scary duo. We'll see how they want to lane it. Could be their duo in the mid, could be, well, even their safe lane, or hell, even their off lane here. Vici, scared of a potential Wisp Tiny, will ban him out, but I think this Bristleback has a pretty good chance to be that Wisp partner all by himself.
Yeah, the Bristle Wisp, a very strong opening for LGD, and well, Vici, as you mentioned, going to play it safe anyway and still go for the Tiny ban, which I'm not really sure if LGD would actually run the Tiny Wisp with the Bristle, but it is possible. Generally, we see more like tempo controllers for Yao in the off lane, I would say. We haven't seen too many of like the carry type off laners from him. It's a lot more of your Clockwork, used to be his Magnus. We've been seeing, I think, an occasional Phoenix out of him in the off lane as well. The Bat Rider we saw yesterday. So I'm not really sure if the Tiny ban is the way to go, but they're just going to play it safe. They don't want to get Tiny Wisp. It's one of those things, if you haven't game planned for it, why risk it?
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm not really sure that Wisp Bristle is too much easier to deal with than Wisp Tiny, to be honest. It's a different beast. It's not quite as bursty, but oh man, the lane is a totally different animal. This is one of the combos that Winter talked about at Major All-Stars, saying this will probably not get played because it is just too good right now. And I think he was right. I think we only saw it maybe once or twice in the entire tournament. But here we go. LGD, they get a little bit of pushing power with their third pick, Mr. Shadow Shaman. Pretty early Shadow Shaman pickup, actually. Really don't see him all too much these days.
No, and especially not when in conjunction with a Wisp, as both of these heroes very level dependent as supports. Shadow Shaman actually, I think, a bit underrated as a zoner just because of how strong Ether Shock is, but that's only if he's got like the 2 or 3-on-1 advantage. As if he's in a 2v2 lane or God forbid up against the tri lane, that's where that hero can struggle a lot. So I think LGD kind of banking on Vici Gaming, just throwing Ice 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 into a solo offlane, which is normally how they play it. But we have seen, you know, occasionally like the Phoenix Triad dual lanes. We saw those yesterday. I think it's still possible that Vici Gaming mix things up, although I'm not sure how many of those combos are left. Bristleback Wisp, one of the big ones. So, well, where do Vici Gaming go from here? They've got their Storm line. Very good ganking duo. Early pickoff. They actually have decent ways to deal with the Wisp. No Disruptor as of yet, or, you know, potentially your Venge to kind of swap people out towards safety when a Wisp comes in to try to relocate gank, but they'll go for the Witch Doctor. So the Cask, a very nice way to deal with the Wisp duo, and also Maledicte great against Bristleback. So I think this is one of the better remaining support options to deal with the combo.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these supports on Vici pretty good against Wisp in general. They talked about the Coconut, but the Hex Finger pretty good against Wisp. Not really known for his survivability, like we saw in the series yesterday. MMY played a pretty good Wisp, but up against a bursty lineup, it just doesn't really matter. That's when we saw that Blink Dagger on the Ember Spirit, and the Finger is one of those ways that you can just kind of lock down that Wisp and blow them up before you can do a hell of a lot. So Vici at least have their bases covered. We'll see where they want to go with this draft. They'll need 2 of their cores left, and now LGD show us what they're about. More minus armor to go with this Bristleback. It'll be a TA, probably for their mid lane, depending on how they want to set these up. It's looking more and more like it could be that safe lane Bristle.
Okay, so TA, I hear they can do pretty well against Storm. I know Blitz is on record as saying he thinks Storm can actually beat TA. The Overload proc does remove an additional refraction charge, so Storm's not as bad versus TA as what you might initially think. He also has pretty high base armor, and obviously once he gets level 6, he's near impossible to shut down. But he struggles a bit to... He can struggle a bit to CS up against refraction damage, and potentially can give up kills if they rotate on the lane. Now, again, with the Shaman Wisp, you're really not worried about too many ganks on the Storm Spirit, so they could run a mid. They still could run him as their safe laner if they so choose, but I think they may want a stronger safe laner here, something like even a Viper or Razor. I'm not sure if those will be the heroes, but something along those lines that just does well in the laning stage to deal with the Bristle Wisp, because this is just a brutal combo. We have seen it wipe tri-lanes easily before.
Yeah, now Vici with a fun one. 4th pick, Timbersaw, an Ice 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 classic, but really not a hero we see very much right now. And even though he's really good against these kind of strength core heroes, he has a slew of other problems, and one of them being very susceptible to stuns with that Timber Chain, and he does need kind of a lot of space to come online. He can do a huge amount of damage without items, like from that level 6 to level 11 stage, but after that, he really starts to fall off if he hasn't gotten that snowball going. So Vici, perhaps feeling a little bit confident here. A good hero against the TA, cuts through that refraction. Very good against Bristle with that stat-based reduction in your Whirling Death. I'm pretty excited. I'm actually struggling to remember the last time I got to cast a Timbersaw game, LD. It's been a while for me.
It has been a while. I think I saw one yesterday in... what was it? God, there's so many tournaments. I think it was some of the European Dota towards the end of the day for Star Ladder. I don't even remember who was running it or how they ran it, but I vaguely recall that there was a Timbersaw, and I think it actually did reasonably well. So I agree with you. I think he does pretty well against refraction in terms of removing the charges quickly. He has good armor from reactive, so he matches up pretty well against physical damage, which Bristle TA, that is their main damage. Even the wards are physical, so I think it's a pretty strong Timbersaw game, and this could work out surprisingly well. Shaman, not the best hero for shutting Timbersaw down. He does have a Hex, but that's it. There's no silence. You can still just Timber Chain out. You don't have a ton of magic damage burst or a reliable silence like a Skywrath or Silencer, which are traditionally the ways that you try to shut down Timbersaw.
So what do LGD do with this final pick here? Maybe something with a little more minus armor, or something like a Shadow Fiend would have been pretty good here. That would have put them light on control. Something like a Tide could work with a big old Ravage, but no, they get a lane dominator, as you were talking about. I think you even said Viper or Razor, and well, they'll take the latter. It's the Lightning Revenant final pick for LGD.
Yeah, I was actually thinking for Vici to deal with the Bristle, but you know, with the Timbersaw pick, in theory, they could lane him against the Bristle Wisp, and maybe they just do like a dual lane, throw someone else into the off lane. That is another possibility, but well, if it's a Timber versus Razor, that is not going to be a fun matchup for the Timbersaw. So, you know, knowing Ice Ice Ice, he'll find a way to eke out a living if that's the matchup. But they rounded out here with the Sniper. So it looks like it will be the safe lane Storm. How's going to be picking that up. Super will take... Man, Super Sniper again. I feel like every game this guy's playing it now, but
yeah.
Maybe not. One guy's played it more as Pycat, but outside of him, Super might be next on the list. And he'll probably go mid. I guess the Timbersaw for Ice 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 will be in the off lane. Ice 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 is not going to have a fun game with this Razor last pick.
No, I definitely don't think so. But overall, I think this Vici draft looks pretty strong. They've got quite a few tools to deal with the Wisp like we talked about. And one of the big issues for LGD I see here is they're like raw damage. Their only crowd control is Hex and Shackle. And maybe if Bristleback gets a Basher, if you want to count that. But other than that, we're looking at just a bunch of right clickers and a little bit of that sticky goo in terms of trying to lock down Vici.
Yes, they are pretty lacking in that regard, and against a Storm Timber, that is very dangerous. So, you know, if the game goes late, and they don't really dominate early. It would not shock me to see... Oh, looks like I'm having a hotkey issue, but I would not be shocked to see even like maybe a Hex on the TA. I know Smash has done that before. That is a possibility. Where's my smooth scroll here? Smooth drag while spectating.
Oh, get that buttery smooth scroll in LD.
Yeah, I'm using an alternate account here because as we were talking about, I will have to host the Summit 3 lobbies later, so looking forward to that. But
good guy LD saving the Summit.
Multitasking time, man. I'll be truly tested today.
All right, let's introduce some rosters here. Radiant side, we've got LGD. MMY will be on his Wisp here today. He'll be joining Yao in the off lane on the Bristleback. Maybe we'll be on the TA, most likely headed to the mid lane, and that leaves us with a dual lane in the safe lane, Sylar on the Razor, and that puts Zhao 8 on the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, it's going to be a good lane for the Razor, as we kind of expected, as we've talked about. And, well, on the side of Vici Gaming, we'll introduce them now. Super on the Sniper. Fenrir, your Lion. FY the Witch Doctor. Going offlane will be Iceman himself, Ice on the Timbersaw. And Hal will be playing your safe lane Storm. Now, the last time these two teams faced, Vici Gaming in Starladder did knock them down to the lower bracket 2-1. So, they had the upper hand last time. I don't know if it'll be an easy win here for LGD, but they have shown they're capable of taking down Vici, even though I imagine Vici is probably favored coming into the match.
Yeah. So Sniper mid, I think it's safe to assume Super will have a pretty good time, even if he gets off to a slow start. We saw yesterday what this guy can do on the Sniper with just a little bit of space in that mid game. I'm actually more afraid of what Hao's going to do on this Storm Spirit. I think there's pretty much no way he doesn't get at least an okay amount of farm. And safe lane Storm can be pretty scary against this lack of crowd control. Aside from the Hex, I mean, I just don't see anything stopping Hal from really going crazy after this laning stage starts to wrap up.
No, it's a game where the only hero that can shut him down is arguably a 5-position support in the Shadow Shaman, maybe a 4, but you know, that's where maybe they bait the Storm in. And to be fair, early to mid game, Storm's mana pool is hardly limitless. You go in aggressively, which Hao is known for, and you may not have a whole lot of mana for the escape route. So Bristle, the kind of hero that can run him down. But as it goes later and later, if this turns into a 40, 50, 60-minute game, or even 30-plus minutes, for sure they are going to struggle to deal with this Storm.
Yeah. So Radiant safe lane, Zhao 8 will do a pull through. Looks like Ice does not have any wards down blocking the pull camp or anything like that, so he will just move over, try and leech what XP he can. Already finds his level 2. It is a 3-1-1 from Vici Gaming, whereas LGD doing the 2-1-2 here. And like you talked about, it's probably off this more about this off lane for LGD. Bristle, a hero that if they man up on him with a Wisp backing him up, 2v3 can actually be winnable for the Wisp Bristle. So I think this is the lane that'll kind of make it or break it for LGD.
Nice.
Whoa.
Just gonna feed a First Blood bottom.
Yeah. Caught the very tail end of it and was
So he just tanked a bunch of Ether Shocks. As I mentioned, the Ether Shock is a very strong laning nuke. It's a bit underrated, I think. Yeah. Although it's not the most spammable one later on as you level it up, but he just got caught off guard by that plus a Plasma Field. Took too much damage, and, Andrew, he ends up giving away a First Blood as an off-lane Timber, where this is a hard lane, and I do think that Timber struggles, but it's not that hard where he should be dying this early. Just a little bit overeager. It almost seemed like he wasn't reacting. Perhaps some lag, or, just was looking at other lanes for a quick moment there, and ends up costing him his life.
He even went this more defensive build. First point, Timber Chain, grabs the reactive armor, and here level 3 he gets Timber Chain once more. So now it should be pretty impossible to kill this guy unless there's some sort of a smoke rotation or something like that now that he's got that huge Timber Chain range.
So the Wisp did make a move back towards the top rune and then over towards the Ancients to maybe stack them, but those Ancients are warded right now. They've got a Dire Observer ward there blocking things out, and looking towards our mid lane, so far, so good for the TA. Sitting at a pretty comfy 13-2. One of the few heroes that can do well against the Sniper early on, though. I mean, eventually, when the TA hits 6, there's some kill potential on Sniper, but you still have to worry about Shrapnel. Very quickly removes the Refraction, and already we're going to see Super just start to lay into maybe here, as there's a big Rumble top.
And Yao, he's going to be on the run. He's hexed up. Do they actually have the damage for this, though? Instead, they'll turn on to MMY. The right choice. It's Fenrir that finds the kill on Wisp. Now Yao on the run. Does have some stick charges. And it looks like that'll be enough to stay alive, at least for now. Turns to throw out some sticky go on to House. He doesn't get run down. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, It's another kill on Ice Ice Ice. Phase Boots up on the Razor now, and it looks like that was all they needed to chase him down.
Yeah, I only caught the tail end of it. Start to see his HP dropping, but it looks like they used a full duration Shackles there with most likely the damage being drained the entire time. His Static Link is just cooled down now, and they're able to get the kill in the back of it. It's a tough lane here for Ice Ice Ice, but he is CSing well, and he is getting his levels. Sure, he's giving up a first blood, another kill. That's not really a good start, but Ice 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 is getting his trades. 11 CS, already level 4 at 4 minutes. That is still very good progress for your offlaner, especially for someone who's getting no help, whereas Yao has had a Wisp at his side for the majority of this laning stage.
Yeah, and you can see in that fight up top the power of just trying to kill the Wisp. Killing the Bristle when he's tethered up, when the Wisp is healing him with overcharge, it's just really not happening. Even with the Maledict on the Witch Doctor, he's gone for the more aggressive build, 1-0-1 early on here. See Wisp with a Sentry Ward actually take out this Observer that was blocking the pull camp, or pardon me, the Ancients here, but it was pretty close to expiration. That'll open it up at least for some stacks to start going, and of course find some recovery farm for that Bristleback. Maybe not totally fair to call it recovery farm, but he actually is not farming particularly well in this safe lane. Hao is getting much more out of it, sitting 24-10 against the 12-0 Bristleback.
Well, for now, another move, this time from Vici. Smoked up Witch Doctor, wants to make that go, and maybe he does have 2 points of Maledict along with Dust. That is a very dead TA. Barring some backup for the Wisp, maybe they can turn it.
I don't think it's enough, though. The Assassinate secures the kill, and Super gets another one up on the scoreboard to make it 2 apiece here. Mid lane domination going the way of the Dwarven Sniper.
Oh, you gotta be careful if you're MMY. He is very squishy. If Super has 2 shrapnel charges or an Assassinate and 1 shrapnel, he can just dive this Wisp for a kill. Right now,
he's got phase boots too.
Yeah, exactly. 1 auto attack with a headshot, MMY, instant bottle charge required to deal with this. And they're gonna do a little bottle shenanigans as maybe we'll TP back. The Wisp will get a free refill. Very nice, but not worth the death on your TA, that's for sure.
No, certainly not. And it looks like he will linger around in the mid lane. It seems that LGD will abandon the dual off lane with the Wisp, at least for now. MMY looking to stack the Ancients here. Will probably bottle up the 6-minute rune, and then we'll see where he makes a movement to. But this is really costing their Bristle quite a bit. He's only gotten a couple of last hits since the Wisp left the lane, and opening up for the Dire supports to move around a little bit more. We've seen Fenrir very comfortable in the jungle, closing in on level 4, and they are really giving Hao a lot of space, who has his Ring of Basilius completed now, but still hasn't picked up anything really past that.
A bit of a chase here onto Hao. He does have the ultimate, but being pressured. And now they're going to bring in 2 more heroes. They want to turn this around, but Maybe's also arrived, and they're going to dive this one, Andrew. They've got the Wisp coming in, and Hao drops quickly.
Uh-oh, it's all bait from Hao. Now Yao's in trouble as Super TP's in. It'll be a dead Bristle and a dead Wisp. Wow, well baited by Hao. I'm pretty surprised that LGD dove that as deep as they did with so many supports off the map and Super TPing in.
Yeah, for Vici, a lane ward setting everything up. They knew well in advance that the movement was coming from the Wisp, and they did not. Actually, they may have even seen the TA movement because they did have this hill ward mid, so they at least saw her heading towards the top rune, and because of that, able to get an early advanced notification of an impending gank and quickly and thoroughly turn it around. There's a dive now into mid, but Super, thanks to the phase boots, is not an easy target to fully dive.
Yeah. TA, now about 1,000 net worth behind the Sniper. It was a little bit more even despite TA even going down, but Super getting a double kill in the top lane. Not even assisting, but finding the last hits down in the bottom lane. We'll hold that thought as Hao goes in onto Sylar. They get the kill on the Razor, but now maybe joining the party. Hao on the run, low on mana. Has a couple of charges, 1 more bottle charge. He will kind of juke the TA to try and zip away, but may still be doomed. On the other side of it, Ice 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 on the run without any mana. The Director trying to chase him down. Hao looking for a deny into the Ancients. Come on, Wild Wings. You don't have the damage. It's a kill for the TA. And LGD will get punished a bit here. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. Razor for Storm Spirit.
Super perhaps as well.
Is Super going to go down here? He'll just try to TP out. Do they have the damage? They do not. A close call, but heads up play from Super to make it back to the well in time. Now, Ice Ice Ice, is he going to be in trouble? Not enough mana for a Timber Chain here. Man, short by quite a bit.
They just keep on going in one-on-one versus this TA Wisp combo. A whiff chain, and it'll cost him his life. Good rotation there from Xiaowei to bring him down.
Did Bristle kill a tree when he, or pardon me, the Fenrir kill a tree when he TP'd in that stopped that timber chain from going? This little tree right
here? He might have.
It looked like it because he threw out a timber chain, and I think it was going to hit until that TP came in. I'm not positive. It was very, very close. If that's the case, that is really unfortunate for Ice Ice Ice.
That is really unfortunate. They might have been able to dive him anyway, but it would not have been so easy. And now they're going to go look for the tower here, but counter gank coming in.
Tower's still alive, and MMY goes down first. Now the tower falls. He actually gets the last hit on the tower before he falls, but maybe left behind and just brought down in a matter of seconds. Roster wards have been deployed, but on the backside, Ice 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 finds the Shadow Shaman, and it is just Sylar that floats away. Vici do lose their tower without a deny, but they get 3 kills out of it, including the TA. I think a worthy trade here in the bottom.
So if you're LGD now, you really got to get your Wisp a level 6, and they need to get this Bristleback involved in fights. It feels like Vici Gaming are 5-manning everywhere, and LGD up to 1,000 gold lead thanks to that tower, but you can already see in terms of experience starting to fall behind, and they are a very experience-hungry lineup at this stage of the game. They need level 6 on the Wisp. They ideally want to get that overcharge maxed out later on this game, and they got a lot of work left to do. I think not quite respecting how willing Vici Gaming are to throw bodies at these towers, at these early fights. To be fair, Vici don't look like that kind of a lineup, but man, they have been prepared for the rotations and punishing them as mid lane. Maybe trapped out by the shrapnel. They don't have any vision. They're going to keep on spamming the remnants, and down he goes. All of a sudden, a mega kill for Super.
Those are 2 heroes that Meld Strike won't keep you safe from, even if they don't have detection. You can just throw down the shrapnel, throw down the lightning remnants, and what's a TA to do? Well, head back to the well. That's about all she can do. That's another kill for Super. 5-0-1. Now has the Mask of Madness to go with his phase boots. This sniper is quickly getting out of control here, LD. 1,000 net worth up on the leading farmers of LGD. There's just nothing slowing this little dwarf down. Okay, let's see how the safe lane for Vici's going here. Looks like FY and Fenrir have been able to take over the lane as Hao's just moved into the jungle. Looks like he had some stacks here at the hard camp that he's taken out. FY is level 6 now, runs into Yao, and oh, he finds a bounce on the cask, sets it up with a Maledict into the ult. Hao with a long-range zip in. Will try to find a kill, but eats through his mana pool and can't quite close the gap. So a close call, but even now Fenrir, he's level 6, so Hao moving around has really opened up for a lot of experience for this Dire side. Big ultimates now into the field.
They're diving Ice Ice Ice, though. They might get the kill. Some stolen damage. Plasma Field brings him down to 5 HP, but they can't get it done. He's going to walk away.
Is he dead here, LD? I don't know if this is enough.
Close call. These wards have been doing a lot of work for Xiao 8, though. He's going to bring this tower down to about half health. They may be farmed up here at the end by your snipers. Got to be careful not to give up too much, but that's a lot of tower damage from Xiao 8. They are making up for the Wisp being a bit behind to some extent with their Shaman. And speaking of that Shaman, Arcane Boots up. The big item they need to shut down the storm is going to be the Blink. And Xiao 8 actually on a fairly fast clip to pick one up.
Yeah. So checking in on Yao, what's he building here? The beginnings of Power Treads, and right now just a casual Vitality booster. We'll see if he ends up going for a Vanguard, but Bristleback's farm still leaving a bit to be desired here. Kind of middle of the pack, I guess, relative to the other off-laner, who is the Timbersaw. He's doing quite well, but still not really that active and hasn't found any kills yet. Yao's been very quiet, 0-1 and 0 still, as Vici rotate around and put pressure in the other lanes. Now Ice Ice Ice, he'll move to the top lane, and he's level 9. So like you said, even though he's died quite a few times, he's got the XP he needs. He goes in onto Yao, and a quick rotation is enough to force him back with a TP home.
It does feel like moving into the mid-game, this Bristleback may struggle to have an impact. Once they get to that point where the Storm has some good burst, Sniper, a great hero to just range him and keep his distance and just blow him out from range. And then on top of that, you've got some heavy magic bursts. You mentioned how well the Timbersaw matches up not only against Bristle, also against Wisp, who is a strength hero. And, well, I would say the same is true with your Witch Doctor in your line. They have tools to bring the Bristle boss down, and I think for LGD, that's where they'll be thankful they have 2 other cores that are farming well, but they need to make sure that they keep both Sylar as well as maybe on a good path. This is not the kind of game where you can win with one carry. There's just too much single target lockdown, too much single target burst. They got to do it as a group, and right now, they're trying for it with the smoke. Heading towards top, looking for Ice Ice Ice.
Not the easiest gank, though. We talked about their lack of lockdown. The Shadow Shaman is with him here, but Xiao 8 needs to get in position to find this initiation. And Ice with a very good positioning, or good positioning around the tower. Serpent wards come down. Dire Glyph not available. And there will actually be a smoke in the mid lane from Vici. Looks like they'll move into the jungle. Vici will sack the tier 1 tower. Ice. Does not venture too close and just heads back to rendezvous with the courier. Let's see what they can find with this smoke. Maybe the only target they could go for, but they're going to have to dive a tower to get him, it looks like.
Yeah, he's fairly killable, but they do have to find him first, and you have to worry. I was gonna say you have to worry about the relocate, because we are 14 minutes in, and normally Wisp has level 6 by now, but he's still not level 6. It's pretty rare to see a Wisp get shut down this hard, and this is where they gotta kill off these Ancients. Less for the Yao's farm, and much more just for MMY to get relocate, man. It's getting ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, it really is. It's been a tough game for him. He just feels so squishy. I feel like every time I see MMY play the Wisp, he's just against these lineups that can bring him down so fast. The Finger, the Storm to close the gap, and even the Sniper, like we were talking about. You get one headshot, you hit him with one shrapnel, and the Wisp is down to about half health and almost in assassinate range at that point. So it's a tough game for MMY here. We'll see if he can turn it around. Now the Yasha is up on the Sniper, this classic build that we've been seeing oh so much on these carries. Phase Boots, Mask of Madness, Yasha. But going on to Xiao 8 bottom, they've got the damage. Timber Saw comes flying in and secures the kill.
And unfortunately for LGD, they were the ones thinking they could set up a little trap because they saw two heroes walking up the hill, heading into their woods, as well as two pushing in bottom, but bit late to the party, Andrew. Xiao 8, he was just, I don't know, what would you say, like a second or two, maybe 3 seconds late on the TP out there. Just did not see it coming, and that is a crucial kill. Their best hero for shutting down Storm. He will be delayed in his efforts for the blink.
Oh, yeah, he's actually pretty close as well. 1750, a bit closer than I would have thought here at the 15-minute mark. I guess he's getting much more out of the map than his Wisp brother here, who's still only halfway through level 5. But look at these aggressive wards from Vici. They get one here, kind of by the hard camp in the middle of the jungle, and then they've got another lane ward down in the bottom to try and siege that tier 2 and just gauge the movements of LGD. Definitely a sign that our Dire team here will continue to be aggressors and move on into enemy territory. Even see Fenrir here with a counter ward getting more vision control for their team.
Yeah, there's going to be that point in the mid-game where Vici Gaming probably get their BKBs. It feels like a game where you're going to need them. A lot of magic damage, a lot of lockdown that does not go through BKB, but when they do, that's going to be their big opportunity to try and strike and take over. But before that happens, there's a zip in from Yao. Assassinates there. They'll find Xiao 8, chaining over the top. Is Ice as well. He almost finishes off MMY solo. Brings him incredibly low. Can't get the job done, though. Will die to a Mel. There was a bit of a zoning Witch Doctor ultimate deployed, but it doesn't end up securing any kills. And now, with Vici Gaming having unloaded all of their big spells, it looks like it will settle into a 1-for-1. A Timber for a Rasta, but the Rasta dropped his wards.
Pretty good for LGD overall. Vici did a lot of damage, but unfortunately that damage was spread across the entire team. A Finger went to Bristle's backside. He was hit by a Maledict, but there just wasn't this cohesion for Vici where Ice went one way trying to focus the Wisp. His supports went another, and just a little bit of focus fire would have made that fight a completely different story for Vici Gaming. I think Super was actually a little low on mana to start off that fight as well. So limited what he was able to do via the Assassinate to try and finish off some of those low HP heroes. But he will have a Sanjin Yasha completed now. Still picking up his combative items at this point. Not those late game farming tools, but ready to skirmish pretty much anytime LGD are looking to fight in. Now Vici just move into this ancient stack here. Looks like a triple stack, 2 golems, and some of those thunder hides there.
I'm a little concerned for LGD. Right now, it's a close game. Gold, experience, very, very close to even. But again, it does come back down to matchups. And if this Sniper gets big enough and he picks up a BKB, Vici don't really have great solutions for that. There's the potential Blink Hex, but for a late game Sniper to get caught out by a Shaman Blink Hex, he's got to be ambushed from like the sides or just completely out of position. And again, they don't really have great solutions for the Storm Spirit later on. Aside from maybe blowing him up with a fat TA, your TA is not super fat. She's not really snowballing. She's just kind of keeping pace in terms of farm. Maybe right now sitting on a Blink Phase Aquila. Has he picked anything else up? Nope. Maybe he tries to go into that Deso, but it seems like if they cannot just blow a hero up instantly with the Deso, then they're going to struggle in these prolonged fights. For now, the Bristle offers a lot, but I mean, you fast forward even 5 minutes from now, that Sniper gets his first damage item. Already we see he struggles to deal with the Finger, the Maledict. Even if it doesn't kill him, it makes him run. And then he's not really a threat to your team any longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the big problems for Yao here is he just doesn't really seem to have any kind of item progression, or at least I'm struggling to figure out exactly what he wants. He picks up the Vitality Booster, doesn't go for the Vanguard. Now he grabs the Ogre Club. Could be the beginnings of a Sange for an SNY, or maybe just a BKB. We'll see Sylar looking for Dire, or Radiant Ancients rather, and will get intercepted. Looks like a ward comes down as they move through, and also put down a Sentry ward just in case they try and block it. Vici putting a lot of stock into making sure that LGD don't get free run of their Ancients, as I think they realize that that is one sure way that Yao can recover and start to become that scary bristleback that we've all come to know so well.
All right, for now, maybe just continuing to farm up the top side of the map. Looks like Ice 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 holding off on his next item purchase. We have seen the Blink Dagger and Timber Saw occasionally. Normally, your go-to item would be the Bloodstone. We'll see what the choice is going to be. He will complete the Soul Booster. Looks like an incoming Bloodstone for him. And
2 Bloodstones, one on the Storm Spirit also.
The Bloodstone boys.
Yeah.
I guess with Bloodborne just dropping, they're paying their respects.
I think it makes sense here for Hao as well. He's, as we've talked about, not too much to slow him down. It stands to reason he should be able to snowball pretty decently. Mid lane was the initiation onto Ice Ice Ice, and no way he'll survive that one. A 5-on-1 in the mid lane. Well, the Goblin Shredder here just gets picked apart.
Always important to make that first Blink Dagger reveal on a key initiator count. We talk about it with Batrider. It's equally true for support, and that was the Shadow Shaman Hex in action. They catch him totally out. Now LGD making their way top. They're going to go for a deep relocate here. They want to fight the Impale from Fenrir. Missed time, but Momoya coming in on his own. May just drop up the bat. Your cask bouncing. Death Ward. Oh, not good enough. There's a Bloodstone Suicide from Hao as it looks like he just had it completed before this fight broke out. Yep. Ends up being around the map a 2-for-1. I guess a 1-for-1 if you want to count that as that deny as a non-kill, but yeah, he does still lose a bit of gold.
A 1-for-1.5, and just as I say, well, little to lock him down. They smoke, and the one hero that can lock him down certainly does. It's a nearly full duration shackle with some hex action, and that'll basically start Hao off with 6 charges on his Bloodstone, and will limit a bit of that momentum. So good rotation from LGD, but is it enough? They actually have a net worth lead right now, very minor, but still farming pretty effectively, all things considered. Shadow Shaman is the leading farming support, and for Vici, it's really Super that's leading the way here. Storm still hasn't gotten enough momentum, and we'll see where the Sniper wants to go. He's invested now into an Ultimate Orb. Looks like Scotty will be his next item of choice. So for Vici Gaming, it seems just getting raw durability is the name of the game as they continue to tank up.
Yeah, for them at some point, I mean, BKB is a possibility, but the only thing it really deals with is that Shadow Shaman is the fight breaks out mid. Fenrir dropping fast here. Big initiation from Maybe. Gets the frag off the bat. Now Hao trapped out on the sidelines, but there's only the single hero to lock him down. That Shaman. He'll be able to ball out. He doesn't want to fully leave the fight, though. Wants to be in the neighborhood in case it breaks out. But this is the time of the game when LGD are particularly strong. Before the Sniper gets his first big damage item, when the Bloodstones have not been followed up by true combat items. Still, they're finding pickoffs. 1 zip from Hao, gets the first. Looking for a second, he's going to jump down bottom, and what do you know? A delicious blueberry for him, to use your terminology.
TA's still on the run. She'll have her Blink Dagger, and yeah, maybe will make it out. So support for support. Well played from Vici to reinitiate that and just find a quick pickoff utilizing the burst rotation of the Timber Saw. It really felt like that mech on the side of LGD was the turning point in that fight. Razor has it completed, and I think he got the heal on all 5 heroes and made that fight look a lot more one-sided than I think it actually was. Vici, however, will move right into the Roche pit, and it looks like they will be able to secure this. Roche falling rather quickly, but LGD are on their way in. Timber Saw in the front lines. They'll just run straight into Yao. The relocate out keeps him alive. He gets pulled back shortly. Assassinate flying through. Not enough for the kill. The Timber Saw actually gets denied to neutrals of all things. Roche still fairly healthy at about 30% HP. Now the rest of LGD on their way in. Sylar face rushes Vici into the pit.
Oh, he's got a 4-shot. 5-shot the Wisp.
Oh, still alive. Now the buyback from the Razors. Xiao 8 on the run as Hao tries to chase him down. Low on mana here. 1 stick charge. There will be an assassinate from the low ground, and that'll be enough to finish off the director himself. Will the buyback from Sylar be worth it here, LD? How in some trouble, slips down to the bottom, and...
This Roche is still low. LGD willing to throw buybacks to grab it, and they may well get it. FY trapped in the pit. There's a Maledict. They finger Yao. He's not dead, though. Wisp coming in hot. Try to keep him alive. The tether will break Yao. The bristleback not enough to get the job done, as Momoya now may also be cleaned up. A ball in. A big rush forward for Hao. Now more buybacks. Your Sniper, your Bristle, everybody and their mothers coming right back in and dying as quickly as they rejoin the fight. This time, it's the Razor's turn to bite the dust. That's a dieback for him, as well as a buyback on the Bristle. Earlier in the fight, we saw that, and we're not even done yet. Ice, Ice, Ice. He's respawned after the quick death. The Bloodstone brings him back. He's now up to 9 charges. Hao up to 12. And he's accrued these before that previous suicide even cools down. They're gonna get the kill on Yao too. Vici Gaming, one fell swoop of a fight. And if they can secure this Aegis, oh my god, they're gonna be far ahead.
Well, it doesn't come for free, but it looks like Vici does find the better of it. They burn 1 buyback, LGD burned 2, all of them on course here, but the buyback on Sniper seems well worth it. How the big winner off this one, but here we go, it starts again. Fenrir gets brought down straight away, as does the Shadow Shaman. Now relocate in, they kill MMY straight away, now maybe isolated all by himself, gets the kill on Super. It's a dieback onto the Sniper, and may even find a kill on Hao. He does. Death ward on the high ground. It will cost him his life, but
it's
now
not done.
Levi's back. He's ready to get back into this fight. Roche still available for the claiming. LDFY trying to finish off these roster awards.
Unbelievable. This has been like a 4-minute Roche fight, and we're not even done yet. The Razor, who died back, is coming back into the fray. Right in goes Hao. Quick zip forward. He almost insta-respawn there, but he may go down again. It's a second death. This guy just had 15 Bloodstone charges. Now he's down to 6, and we're not done. It's a dieback for maybe. Oh my god, the river runs red with blood. And still, Roshan casually healing up in the pit. He's like, does anybody want to kill me? I'm here. I'm still waiting. Come and take me, but they can't.
It's going to be a little while longer. LGD are still ready to pose the defense. Zhao 8's respond. MMY's here with Yao. They can move into the pit to contest this if Vici do actually try. I don't know if they really want to try to do it. That was so costly for both sides. No more buybacks are available, so this next fight that breaks out around here could actually go the way of Vici. Looks like TA will be stuck in the grave for another minute or so, just about 50 seconds, and that should be the window that Vici need to finish this off, as, yeah, they head right into the pit. Also, Desolator has been completed on TA. I don't think we noted that amongst the chaos.
Yeah, he went straight for it, though. He is very, very squishy, rather easily killed off. They're going to grab their Aegis, and they will give it to the Sniper. In the end, it does turn out to be a pretty big win for Vici Gaming. Thanks to their Bloodstones on 2 of their cores, they end up losing less gold when they die. They're able to respawn quicker, and I think that, plus having their tier 1 up mid, did make a big difference for the Roche hold. And, you know, already, as quickly as the Storm was racking up the charges, he lost them, but guess who emerges with a massive pile of them? Ice, Ice, Ice. 15 Bloodstone charges.
You know, it's not often you see Bloodstones have this much value, but that's one of those fights where it's just, thank Jesus we had 2 Bloodstones on our team. I mean, that is just incredible how much more quickly they were able to get back into the fight and just simply have more resources to throw at it than LGD did. Now Vici will turn up the aggression. They move into the mid lane here and start chipping at this tier 2 tower. They get another very aggressive ward down to give some vision on the other side of the tree line. They see exactly where Yao is. They see Sylar nearby. And they will just slow siege the tower. Happy to put Super here and just let him chip away. They'll actually glyph this when backdoor protection is on. That's a bit peculiar.
All right, well, rather unfortunate. Vici Gaming not really the best slide up at breaking the base this early until the Sniper gets another damage item. It may be a bit tricky, so I don't know if that will come back to haunt them, but still not ideal. Now your tower will go down. Vici Gaming starting to accrue some momentum here at 28 minutes, Andrew. It's been back and forth, but now they've cobbled together a 5,000 gold lead, a 7,500 experience lead, and your Storm races towards a Hex. Ice, Ice, Ice. Let's see, what is that? Completed Chivas? No, Boots of Travel will be the choice. And again, LGD, the one issue with their draft is they're almost all physical damage, and if you're able to just stack up your survivability items, then Well, how are you going to kill this Timbersaw later on? I'm just not sure they'll be able to do it.
Maybe. Scouting out the dire jungle. Invisibility rune on. Sees the 2 supports. Clearing out some neutrals. May look for initiation here. Thinking about FY. Will rendezvous with his friends. Instead, it's Xiao 8 that goes down before his team can even really react to it. Now the long range zip in. They assassinate the Wisp. And Sylar, well, he'll BKB. And that will ensure his survival. That's your 10-second BKB charge there on the Razor. So victories for Vici all over the place.
What a terrible Wisp game at this point. Like, you just chucks out the level 3 assassinate and storm zips in, you're dead from full health.
Yep.
What do? You have to, like, hide out of vision, at which point your Bristleback's a lot weaker, and, well, maybe they are going to come and siege the base. They don't even have creeps. They're still just like, you know what? Let's just work on this tower a little bit. We've got another wave coming in.
Come on, Daryl, you can tank it, right?
I would hope so. With the Bloodstone, with the plate mail, he's a beefcake. LGD now trying their best to hold the high ground there, split pushing slowly with their TA, but even with the Deso, it seems they will be forced to come out. Come out and play, LGD. Vici Gaming are getting lonely here. They're going to take your tower if you don't.
Headshots coming out left and right onto Yao, and still the slow siege continues. The Snooper here just laying into the tier 3 tower. It's going to go down in a matter of seconds here. Hex onto Ice says he'll survive. Yao showing off that BKB as he's in the front lines, but now the zip in, the Death Ward from the low ground. Finger on the Shadow Shaman. That'll be the first death of this fight. Vici looking to be in good shape. Now they get MMY. Yao very low. Assassination fly through. Timbersaw commits suicide, but it may be the only kill that LGD find this fight. He's already respawned, ready to come back in. Maybe dies despite being hasted. And the BKB'd Sylar will get chased down to the well. GG! It's Vici that take it.
Ice dying for their sins. The Bloodstone deny ensures Hal survives. I think they had it anyway, but just a little cherry on top, a little salt in the wound as Vici Gaming calmly and confidently crushed their way through LGD in game number 1. Last series was a 2-1 win for LGD, but it's going to be tough to climb up this hill. Vici Gaming just outgunning them, and, you know, you look back at the laning stage, they did not get very much out of the Bristleback Wisp in the offlane, and frankly, this has to be one of the lowest impact Wisp games I've ever seen from MMY. I think partially due to hero matchups. You mentioned the Timbersaw in the draft could really shut down the Wisp, and it did. And I think partially just due to Vici Gaming focusing him down beautifully every fight. Assassinate coming out, Storm Zip jumping him, and they just didn't have answers for the Storm. They didn't snowball, and this lineup was just not built to play from behind. Certainly not against a fat Storm and Timber. They had very little lockdown, so solid draft from Vici and just excellent execution to walk away with the Game 1 victory.
Yeah, it feels like Wisp versus Sniper is one of those matchups where they can kind of counter each other. If you're on the defensive as the Wisp and you see how much damage Super can do to MMY, one headshot, and that's all it takes to lock him in place and get him in assassinate range. But if you have a partner where you can relocate on top of the Sniper, it can work out. Not MMY's game. Be excited to see what LGD have in store here coming up in game number 2.
All right, folks, you are watching Starladder China Season 12. This is the final best of 3. The winner goes to Bucharest. Who's it going to be? We'll find out after this short commercial break.